So you're learning English and you pick up a new word, idiom, or slang expression. You try it out. You sound trendy, fashionable, cool. You sound just like a native English speaker, right? Not necessarily. How would you even know? In fact, instead of sounding trendy and cool, you might actually sound like a drunken baboon. You might even sound like some kind of jerk. Now, if that's your goal for English, don't let me stop you. If you are guilty of one of these linguistic crimes, don't worry. I'm here to explain exactly how you should be using these expressions so that your English will sound more precise and more natural. In this show, I'll tell you the hard-boiled truth about all those English expressions you're getting wrong. I've heard English murdered 1,000 ways in this town. Idioms butchered beyond recognition. Slang screwed up. Expressions mangled. Join me as we report these true tales of English gone wrong. It's English Confidential. Today we're going to look at a word you hear everywhere these days. People use it on the bus, they use it on the train, in the boardroom, on TV, in movies. You hear it in songs, you hear it in schools, you hear it everywhere. And most of the time you hear it these days, it's used incorrectly. Using this word does not make you sound like a cool native English speaker. It makes you sound like a bonehead, some kind of demented idiot. I mean, how would you even know? What is this mystery word, you may ask? Literally. Every once in a while, an English word or expression is used in a new way. Often the word or expression is used in a movie, a song lyric, or by a famous media personality. It grows in popularity until it becomes a language trend. Sometimes an expression is so widely accepted and is so communicatively useful, it becomes a legitimate part of the language, and it might even get its own entry in the dictionary. Sometimes, however, it does not, probably because it expresses nothing and sounds stupid. Usually, it's teenagers who catch on to these new usages first, largely because they consume more media and pop culture than adults do. Teenagers love to sound different than their parents, so they embrace new slang and idiomatic expressions, often without thinking too deeply about what they're saying. They might use the word or expression for emotional effect, or to sound different than their parents, or simply because it sounds poetically good. In a sense, using such expressions bonds them together, makes them feel accepted and liked. To a teenager, this is far more important than articulating and communicating with precision. Literally is one of these expressions. Over the past 10 years or so, the word literally has become incredibly trendy. And you hear it used by native speakers too, incorrectly. If you're an English language student or learner and you hear a native speaker using this word, you might naturally assume that they're using it correctly. But this is not necessarily the case. Teenagers are young and they're still developing their language proficiency. And some adults, even those who are famous, rich, or powerful, actually speak at a low proficiency level. Donald Trump and Kim Kardashian might be wealthy and powerful, but I wouldn't want any of my students to lower their English aspirations to that level and imitate the way they speak. If you use such expressions as literally incorrectly, others might perceive you as uneducated, ignorant, or childish. Is that what you want? Worse still, you might not be able to say precisely what you mean. Okay, you might ask, what is so wrong with using the word literally? Well, to understand how it's used badly and how we should use it correctly, I think it's useful to understand its antonym or its opposite, that is, the adverb figuratively. In English, as with most languages, there are a variety of figurative techniques one can use to create new expressions. Metaphor, simile, personification, and hyperbole are often used in literature, poetry, song lyrics, and everyday expressions to convey abstract concepts more clearly, or to convey connotations or emotional cultural associations that lie outside a word's denotative or dictionary meaning. If, for example, I say, when he's angry, he's like a tiger, it means he shares the characteristics of a ferocious wild cat. And if I tell you, the moon is gazing down at me, it means the moon is watching over me, perhaps even judging me. And if I said, it's raining cats and dogs, it means it's raining so heavily, the water droplets strike me with a strong impact. And if we're having dinner together and I say, OMG, this is so delicious, I'm like in heaven, it means I'm feeling wonderful because of the delicious food. Because all these expressions describe something unnatural, something physically impossible in our world, you would likely assume I meant them figuratively. You wouldn't say, the moon is figuratively gazing down at me. You wouldn't need to. That's because only a child or an adult idiot would assume you meant it in anything but a figurative way. So we have figurative meanings and we have literal meanings. A figurative meaning is one that the words themselves do not directly express. A literal meaning is a meaning that the words directly express. However, some figurative expressions are not so clearly unnatural or physically impossible, and you might need to clarify the meaning that you intend. For instance, if I said, millions of viewers have watched her videos, I might just be exaggerating, in which case that would be figurative. It would be hyperbole. On the other hand, it might actually be true that millions of people have seen her videos. So if I mean actually millions of viewers have seen her videos, and I feel that you might get that confused with an exaggeration, in that case, I might need to clarify. So I might say, literally millions of viewers have seen her videos. In another example, what if I said, when I saw her at the mall, I was so surprised I had a heart attack. On the one hand, you might mean this hyperbolically, as an exaggeration. You didn't really have a heart attack physically. You were just really, really surprised to see her at the mall. On the other hand, it actually is possible that this happened, that you really did have a heart attack. If this actually happened, if you physically had a heart attack, just as the word says, then you do not mean this hyperbolically or figuratively. You mean it literally. The word says heart attack, you physically had a heart attack. And to clarify which of the two meanings you intend, you should use the word literally. You should say, when I met her at the mall, I was so surprised, I literally had a heart attack and was sent to the hospital. Fortunately, you lived and you're here to tell the story. But if you did not physically have a heart attack, it makes absolutely no sense to say, I literally had a heart attack. The word is not necessary. It's redundant. It sounds idiotic. The problem is, this word literally is being used nowadays in expressions and sentences that are not figurative, and that only a complete bonehead would assume were figurative. So the word literally is not needed. It's redundant. And using it when you don't need it sounds ridiculous. And frankly, kind of stupid. Really stupid. Here are some examples I've actually heard. Nobody but an idiot needs clarification to avoid confusing these expressions, so why provide clarification in the form of the word literally? Why say it? Worse still, if you continuously use the word literally this way, it can lose some of its semantic power, its ability to communicate exactly what you intend it to. I mean, what happens when you actually need this word to express its true meaning? If you use the word literally all the time, sprinkling it on your sentences like salt and pepper, your listener may not understand that you mean to distinguish between literally and figuratively. And they'll be used to you using it frivolously, like covering a steak with so much salt and pepper that you can't even taste the meat. And you end up saying a whole lot of nothing, which makes you sound like an idiot. But teacher, you may ask, isn't this all just creative and playful use of language? Isn't it all harmless? Maybe, maybe not. It all depends on you, on how and who you want to sound like. If you want to sound like a teenager gossiping with their friends, go ahead. That's okay, especially if you are a teenager. But if you're an adult, that might be a problem. I'm not here to tell you what to do, what to say, or to judge your choices. Just know that when you make language choices, there are consequences. There are consequences for the listener's ability to understand you and the way they perceive you. I am here to tell you, though, that if your goal is to communicate precisely, intelligently, and like an educated adult, you might want to avoid following this particular language trend, even if you hear native speakers using it. Not all native speakers are respected and admired, even if they are wealthy and powerful. And not all pop stars are cool, even if they are famous. Some of them are kind of idiots. And being an idiot is not cool. It's, well, idiotic. If you want to be cool, use English well. Communicate clearly and precisely. Having an ability to mean precisely what you say and say precisely what you mean, that's cool. So if you want to avoid sounding like a child or an idiotic adult, don't use this word literally when you don't need it. Using the word literally when there's no possibility of confusing the expression with a figurative meaning sounds idiotic. And that's the hard-boiled truth. I'm Teacher Paul. Thanks for joining me on English Confidential. If you like this video, please subscribe and hit that bell to receive all the updates about new video releases.